CoCoTALK would like to thank some of our community members and sponsors. Check out the Coco VGA project at CoCoVGA.com. Boyson Technologies at BOYSONTech.com. Jim Brain and Retro Innovations can be found at go4retro.com. Cloud9 Technologies at cloud9tech.com. CoCoTALK is on the Coco TV channel on Roku thanks to Roger Taylor. For a very cool project to turn an SD card into a ROM pack, check out sdpak.com. Get your own switcheroo and wallaby cable at cocoman.biz. Check out some coffee mugs, t-shirts, and swag at our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. For all things color computer, visit imacoconut.com. That's imacoconut.com. For all things CoCoTALK, visit us on the web at cocotalk.live. Let's not forget the Coco Crew at cococrew.org, Extructus Productions at extructus.com, and certainly, let's not forget the Cylon himself, Ed Snyder, the Zipster, at the Zipster Zone, TheZippster Zone.
And you missed out.
Too hot for TV.
Ready, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. From the heat of the San Fernando Valley, from the air-conditioned comfort of Stage 37, the stars are all here. You know how to play the game, match across, down, or diagonal, and you could win a Mazda. CoCoTALK is live from Hollywood.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world. World, keeping the tiny flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit
The train wreck that everybody loves to hate and hates to love. CoCoTALK is live on the air, live from Hollywood, California. How's it? Hello, Squares.
Hello.
I'll take Nick Moreau to the block.
Yes. Hi, how are you? Oh, let me tell you.
I'm the round part that don't fit in the square hole.
And we've learned a lot today. We've learned about audio mixing and audio unmixing and learning your levels and setting things up the right way, and
Bad humor.
bad humor.
On a very special CoCoTALK.
On a very special CoCoTALK. And And Retro Innovation says, imagine a large dumpster engulfed in flames. The intense heat scars the sides of the dumpster, but you can still make out the name on the side that says CoCoTALK.
Like a
Thank you,
phoenix.
Jim.
He has seen the show before.
Well, we've gotten there in the end. We have something happening, which is good.
We do have something happening. I'd like to say hi to our returning champion, Ron Dalvo. You haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. And Ron, how are you doing? The Timberman himself is here.
Pretty good. My dog just was outside of I'm in my observatory today, and the dog saw something or heard something, and my wife, I finally got her on the phone. Come and get the dog. I couldn't hear. It was extremely loud. I was having difficulties like CoCoTALK does.
Surely not that bad.
No.
If you're looking for difficulties, you've come to the right place.
I just hope I can keep it going. I have my little Wi-Fi unit here. I'm out yards away from the home where it's okay. Thanks.
Well, we're glad to have you back, Ron, and also we're glad to have the man who made ease of use a household name, Mr. L. Curtis Boyle. How are you, Curtis?
Hey, yeah, it's been a couple of weeks since I've been on too. Well, we didn't have a show that 1 week, but yeah,
The lost episode.
it's good to be back.
Good to have you back. And any ease of use updates?
I did get a little bit done. I've been basically cleaning up a bunch of the utilities. There were still about 20 or 30 utilities that were from an older version of Nitrous 9 than the current release. So I've started replacing those and just testing them out and stuff. And then, of course, because I'm stupid, I started adding to them and modifying them and stuff too, instead of just copying them over. So there'll be some minor tweaks happening to those. I'll be releasing those on the repository too once this is done. But it's all part of the new beta 4, which should be out by the fest.
Great. And our center square, Nick Marotta.
Hello, how are you? It's good to be here.
Good to have you on the show. And what's been going on with you besides ukuleles and cats?
I've been scouring Kijiji a little bit. Kijiji is a site here in Canada which is similar to like a Craigslist or whatever. And I've been scouring Kijiji looking for cocos, and I found one that I'm interested in possibly getting, if it's still there. Because I got to get back in this hobby, man.
Is it a Coco 3 you're looking at, or
It's a Coco 2, the one that I originally found.
Okay.
I'm on now. I don't know if it's still there. But yes,
Coco Dude?
I'd like to get a Coco 3, optimally. So, but yes.
Well, great. Well, keep us updated on that. It'd be very cool to get. Do you have any Cocos currently?
Not currently. I used to have a 2 and a 3, and I loved them, and stupidly got rid of them.
All right, so this will be a pretty significant moment if you're able to get a new color computer.
Yeah.
Mark B, how are you doing? You've survived the start of the show, and are you prepared to see us to the end?
Yeah, survived the pre-show, and yep, we'll be here till the end.
Till the bitter end.
Till the bitter end. Till we put the fire out.
And what have you been working on? Do you have actual color computer physical hardware?
Yeah, it's in the corner back there behind me under a towel. This week my primary monitor died, so got a backup up and running here. But,
so you have a second monitor for your Coco, or are you talking about your main computer?
My main computer. Yeah, this monitor here. So the dead one's on the floor back there. It lasted 18 years.
Are you are you sure it's not repairable? Are you the type to take it apart?
Yeah, I've had it apart a couple of times. The caps are good. This is a silicon failure where it started wigging out, then up, and then now we just have this 1 inch wide white stripe down the front of it. So this is a controller failure. So I got to take it apart and pull all my good caps back out of it. save them for something else. So, but yeah, so I hadn't turned the cocoa on this week.
All right, and who else? With Jason, the Cocoa Man, right, Kurt? How are you doing? Are you prepared for Cocoa Fest? Do you have new Australian named products that have been unannounced?
Nothing announced yet. I'm still riding the laurels of the Wallaby RGB splitter cable. And am I ready for Cocoa Fest? Not yet, but I've got a bunch of cables here, or all things that will become cables, and all in process here, all in due time. Every time I try to build up some switcheroos and whatnot for Cocoa Fest, I can't keep them in stock right now, so it's quite of a challenge. But we may have some other stuff down the pipe eventually. But right now, between getting ready for Cocoa Fest and all the aspects of real life, I've had no else.
Cool. Well, continuing in the clockwise format here, the madman Simon Jonason is with us. Simon, how are you doing, and what can you tell us about what you've been up to?
How am I doing? Well, I'll tell you what, it's about 9 o'clock at night here, and I've actually been at a 70th birthday party since midday, so I've had a few beers in my skin. That's what it is. But yeah, I'm trying frantically to complete this demo for Cocoa Fest. So I'm going to have to fly from Denmark to Amsterdam, and from Amsterdam to Detroit Metro. So that's about 13-hour flight all in all.
And please tell me you're not booked on WoW Air.
No, Delta.
Okay, good, because WoW Air, I think, folded last week.
No,
Yeah,
Delta.
stranded thousands.
So yeah, no, it's KLM from Denmark to Holland, and then it's Delta Airlines to Detroit Metro. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So I'm not one for flying. I'm not one for flying, but hey, if you guys are paying, I better go there.
Oh, well, it was either that or swimming. You'd have to have left already. So
That's a big swim.
That's a long old way, isn't it? You know, from Denmark to Chicago. That's quite a way.
Hey, is it next year the Titanic's going to sail? Do you hear about
and by sail, you mean think like a rock, right? That's a
well.
Curtis, please.
Yeah, let's not bring up the Titanic. It's too soon.
Bring up the Titanic. They've tried that, haven't they? Didn't they fail?
2 pieces.
Don't bring up pieces of it. Don't bring up the Max 8 either.
Yeah, the Max 8. Well, that was a feature. It was a self-crashing plane.
Yeah, exactly.
You need an MC-10 to prop it up. That's what they need.
Oh my
and
God. That's it. But yeah, basically, I've just been doing this demo. I've been having all number of people test it. I mean, Ron's tested a lot of my stuff.
Yep.
Timberman himself,
Remind us what the demo is, because I forgot.
Well, no, you sworn to secrecy. I can't tell you.
Oh, sorry, it's a surprise. That's why I forgot, because you never said it.
I think we could say it's a Coco 3 demo.
It's
Okay.
I was still going to run that. Sorry, I was going to still run that demo. I keep telling you I'm going to do it, and I still haven't had time to do it. So
don't run it on air. I told you sworn to secrecy.
I won't tell anybody. It's your secret is safe with me.
So, but yes, it's basically a C64 Amiga style mega demo on a Coco 3. And we're talking mega demo, as in not just one single part. We're talking like 10 parts with musical disc loading, all the trimmings.
A multimedia extravaganza. That's what I'm going to call it.
Yes, perfect.
Either that or a complete failure.
But doesn't have a real-time clock.
Yeah, you better have a real-time clock. Speaking of multimedia extravaganzas, David O'Connor is here with us, a man who has many devices and musical instruments and audio spectrum analyzers and Coco 3s now with mega mini multi-packs. What have you been working on, David? How are you doing?
Pretty good here. It's good to be back at this earlier time slot too. The later time slot was a bit of a struggle here for us nocturnals in Australia. So yeah, this past week I've been been meaning to get this power supply that I've been working on for the big modular behind me up and running. I still haven't got it finished. It's been the longest power supply build in history, I think. It's taken a month and a half to get the thing working. It works. I had to transfer it from prototype to finished version. So, but what I have done, I've ordered a couple of new modules and new oscillators for the modular. And I've purchased another synthesizer, Yamaha SY99, that I've wanted for 25 years.
All right.
And they should be arriving this week. And with the power supply finished for the modular this coming week, and hopefully with some of Ed's Coco Composer software up and running, I'm hoping to get something from him to do some beta testing with. I've got some plans of interfacing the Coco 1 and the Coco 3 to the modular, which I've been talking about on and off for the last few weeks, but I've actually got something formulated that I can get running immediately without even having to build dedicated hardware just for the short term to test the concept. So hopefully by next week, I might have a demo running of that, something to display.
Okay. And
what
happened? Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to have David, since I kind of missed the last week or two. I'm just wondering how you're enjoying the Coco 3 that you now have.
Coco 3 is fantastic. Yeah, I've just downloaded I've got the getting started and the going ahead manuals. I've got 2 copies of them for the Coco 1s that I've had since I've had the Coco 1 in the early 80s. And I posted on the Facebook group to find out whether there was a Coco 3 equivalent of that, and had some very good positive responses with some links to some PDFs. So I've got some good reading material there now to get up to speed with the extra functionality of the Coco 3 and take advantage of that with some coding ideas I've got and software to write for this modular project.
Well, couldn't you just go next door and borrow next copy?
Sorry, I had 2 questions over the top there.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Mine was not more of a joke. I just said, couldn't you just go borrow Nick's copy? Just go next door and borrow Nick's copy of the Coco 3 manual?
Yeah, just about. Just a short walk across from one side to the other of the country. About 2,500 kilometers or something, I think. So
when I found out you had a Model 1 keyboard on that Model 3 there, it caused me a migraine. If you just look at it, it's just like something wrong.
Yeah, that's a very temporary thing because Bryza very graciously sent me that. It was without a keyboard, but he said if you can get a keyboard for it, you can have it, and it's got 512K of RAM. And I had the only keyboard I had that had the right connector for it was the chiclet one, so I put it in temporarily until I can either get a Cloud9 PS2 adapter or a mechanical keyboard from Ed, which I'm looking forward to.
Was that Brizza that sent you that, mate?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Brian is a good guy.
He's fantastic. We've had some good chats on the phone over the last couple of weeks and talked about everything from Coco 3s to conspiracy theories to corrupt governments and all sorts of stuff in between.
Exactly. He's a good bloke.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a couple of other small projects I've got on the way too. Is a hardware instant reboot cold start for the Coco 1 using MOSFET power transistors to switch the power rails after the power supply filter caps with a little button on it, so you can press it and get like a 1 second instant reboot. Then I may be writing an article on that possibly for the Coco magazine if I can get the thing if not for the Rainbow magazine, if I can get that designed in time. So,
you know about the alt control reset to do the same thing?
Yeah, on Coco 3 it works, but not for Coco 1.
No.
So yeah, this is specific for Coco 1.
And
So, yeah.
Nick Morantes, your neighbor, is here. Nick, how are you doing? How
Oh,
is
not too
Fun's-
bad. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
all right. My neighbour, David's always playing music, making noise next door. Can't go to sleep. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, get
Problem
off
when
the
you
lawn,
live
right?
so close. Yeah.
He doesn't have a barking dog, does he? Barking
No, I've got
cat?
a meowing cat. Yeah.
It's
He's
just a
right
short
beside me.
plane ride.
Yeah.
I see you said you got a SY99, David.
Yeah, I've had an SY77 since 1991, and I wanted a 99 at the time, but it was like $7,500, and I couldn't afford it on apprenticeship wages. So I finally have an SY99 on the way this week, which should be here. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
I've got an SY99.
Oh wow! Oh,
Right.
cool.
I had a B-17 flew over not too long ago.
So what was it?
It's the only
Is that a
numbers I
plane?
can think of.
Oh. We'll have to exchange some patches, Nick.
Yeah, I haven't used it in a while. I mean, I don't know how to play. It was my kids who can play. They grew up and moved on, and I still got the keyboard.
Yeah, okay. Well, it was Yamaha's top of the range in the day, and
It was.
it's still a keyboard that that there's unique things about that you can't do with keyboards today. It's still got a unique sound engine. It's so yeah.
It's got three engines, if I recall.
Yeah. AFM, AWM, and RCM.
Yeah.
And everyone's saying, "What on earth are you guys talking about?" This is not CoCoTALK. This is synthesizer talk, and we're supposed to be doing CoCoTALK.
Well, as long as you're connecting it to a Coco eventually.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's actually one of the. I was just going to say one of the things I'm looking for at CoCoFest is a MIDI cartridge because I'd like to connect mine.
You know what?
You
I
can.
like 6581. 6581 in the Coco. The infamous SID chip.
Oh, that's the SID chip.
That's what you want.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
6581 or an 85.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
the wicked.
Well, the OPL3 can cover the SID chip territory quite well. It can sound like a SID chip very effectively.
Can actually sound better.
Yeah, well, it can sound a lot better, but it can also do the SID chip stuff too if people want to. But yeah, I know what you mean. Having an actual real SID chip in there would be pretty cool.
And Mr. Nick Morantes, will we have a Gunstar update or core dump today?
No, haven't been doing too much on the Gunstar lately. I've had a few medical issues in the last few weeks, but and I've got a bit of a side. I've been sidetracked to another project as well, which hopefully will find its way back into Gunstar anyway. So that shouldn't be too bad, but can't announce anything as yet. Nothing to announce on Gunstar.
Okay. Well, last but certainly not least is a man that we all know.
I'm much happier breaking stuff.
I believe Mr. Sir David Ladd is here somewhere in the house.
Are you sure about that?
Really?
Really?
Yes, really.
How are you, David?
Oh, just tired. What's up?
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Ladd and his Turn Signal Orchestra.
Uh-huh.
I'm glad we had this talk.
So nothing really new to report from my end. So just glad to see everybody still here.
Patiently waiting your next episode of Floppy Talk. That's what we're doing.
You will be at CoCoFest. Yes, David?
I'm still hoping. So I'm planning. We'll see if everything comes together for me to actually make it.
So it's definitely maybe.
Yes.
Well, since we're on the subject of Cocoa Fest, I think we should remind everybody to make the trek, and we will. I believe that a friend of ours has made a song about it, and it goes a little something like this.
The reading's growing stronger, Captain. Coming from a star system directly ahead.
Cocoa Fest, make the trek to the place you belong. Illinois, Heron Point, make the trek. Cocoa Fest. Cocoa Fest, May 4th and 5th. 2019 in Lombard, Illinois. Make the trek. Touch the heron.
Fascinating.
Wish I could be there. It's a long way to swim.
Get ready to touch the heron.
I could make a comment on that one.
No, it's Heron
We're not
Point.
doing so.
A bird is a heron, and they have a statue of a heron. They say, touch the heron, the statue.
Statue? No, that's me. Sorry. That's bad.
We believe you.
Well, anything else that people are looking forward to at Cocoa Fest? I know I'm looking for stuff, MIDI cartridges. Anyone looking to kind of complete their collection, or kind of on the hunt for cartridges or anything?
Jim Jerry's going to have a contest for the MC10, I guess, huh?
Oh, is Jim Gary going to be there?
I don't think so, but he's going to try and somehow navigate through and get somebody to win something by typing in a program or something.
I'm looking forward to the baked goods. I've already made my order. I pre-ordered my baked goods for Cocoa Fest.
That's from Jim Brain's daughter for when she does her.
Right, the Jim Brain retro baked goods.
Are you going to be broadcasting along with other people when you go with your cell phone?
Oh, I think if it makes a good gag, yeah, absolutely. I'll follow around Stevie streaming. That was the joke that went on too long, but that
was great last year.
No such thing as a joke going on too long.
Once I started, I was committed. I'm like, no, it'll just be a stream back of Stevie's head or something walking around, but we're just going to go ahead and go with it. And it's out there. If anyone wants to experience it themselves, it's on YouTube.
So Cocoa Fest is 2 days or 3 days?
2 for the show
official.
floor. The Friday night, the vendors can start setting up a little bit ahead of time.
Yeah, okay, so like 2.5, 2 and a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. For the public, it's 2 days.
Yeah, okay.
Welcome, Rick.
Happy anniversary, Rick.
Thank you. You're too kind.
I think Rick is muted. Is he?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
there we go.
too kind, and thank you.
You're too kind. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
How's your basement doing there, Rick? Have you got it completely aired out now, or?
Pretty much, yeah. It's been raining. There's one room that gets a little bit damp. I got some towels down. But yeah, we're pretty much, I'm actually back in my workshop again, and it's not, it used to smell just absolutely terrible. And now it's okay. So I'm back.
You been active on the cocoa and your cocoa pie again, or?
No, I haven't been doing anything. I'm waiting for it to be spring.
Unfortunately, Mother Nature's a bit drunk. I'm not sure if she knows when.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Right.
We're supposed to be in autumn, you're coming into winter, and it's like we're getting like ridiculously hot days and cyclones and all sorts of things here in Australia. It's kind of silly.
Yeah.
So mid 35 degrees Celsius here, and coming into winter, it's like that's what's that 100 and what's it 90 something degrees Fahrenheit or something?
It's about 95.
Yeah. Is that what it's been like for you, Nick, or is it you've been getting the craziness there too?
Yeah, it is. It's a fairly warm day here. It's very non-wintry, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have 95 soon, a couple days.
A lot of hot air in the world.
Especially on this show. Oh, sorry.
Very true.
Rick, I did see you. There was some chatter in the OmniStar Discord at some point recently.
Yeah, not much of anything. I think mainly I was just, announcing my lack of progress.
Oh, okay. Well, you're keeping everyone updated.
Well,
on the lack.
I don't even remember what I put in there, really.
I know you were asking about or trying to figure out exactly how to get all your games to reboot it back to your menu, and I think was OmniStar one of the ones that was a problem?
Yeah, OmniStar is the one that's the problem, and I don't know. It's like I reboot, basic, and then it goes to the what do you call it? The
SDC Explorer.
SD. Yeah. Well, it goes back to it reboots that, and then it goes back to the kiosk program that has the menu. But when it goes back to the Coco SDC, it isn't really in a good state. It gets back to the menu, and if you pick anything, it crashes. Because if you go to OmniStar and then you hit the break key, and it goes back to the menu of all the games. If you hit break at that point, it's a basic program, and then if you do like a dir, you'll get an IO error. So I don't know what's going on there, but nobody's really figured it out yet. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to get to CoCoFest and have and show it to some people, and maybe they'll be able to figure out how to fix it.
And it works in every other game, so it sounds to me like maybe basic isn't getting initialized properly or something.
Yeah, it's like every other game is fine. So OmniStar must leave something behind in page 0 or something. It's like something is not quite right. It makes no sense to me.
Stray interrupt request or stray NMI.
Right.
That'd be my take on it. First up, stray interrupt request somewhere that's not.
So I've got the kiosk program up right now, and I'm going to hit 1 and go to OmniStar, and then it's going to crash. Well, that's lovely.
Nothing like live demos.
Yes. Let me try that again. Oh, well, okay. It crashes. Oh, that's lovely. Let's try Bombcat. That comes up. So
what if you do a cold boot and try it again? Might be something that's scrambled in memory.
Yeah, let's power it down and start it over.
That's what we did earlier with the CoCoTALK.
Yeah, it works. It
worked.
fixed
Okay,
it.
so there we are, and I'll hit 1, and it's stuck. So so something's wrong with OmniStar. I don't know what.
Maybe it's a scrambled disk image or something. You're running that off a SDC, yeah?
Right. Well, I'm going to I just rebuilt it. So let's 3-finger salute here and try it again.
Stevie's on the chat.
Well, that makes me very discouraged. Huh. I wonder what I did.
Rick,
Drag the,
Well, let's
put a,
Rick, just send it to me again. All right.
send it to you.
Yeah,
Okay,
just
I could do that.
Send it to me again, and we'll make it work. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is like I haven't touched it for about a month.
Yeah.
And
Just send it to
you
me.
know, and now
we'll work out why it's
I try to
crashing.
run it and it just crashes. So okay.
We'll
All
work
right.
out why it's crashing. So just drop me a PM on Facebook.
I'll get it to you. I'll get the source, and I'll get the source to you.
Yeah,
and then
no worries.
we'll
No
figure
worries.
it out. Okay.
We'll fix it.
Very
All right.
good, sir.
Simon, you do realize that's going to take away some time from finishing your demo, right?
Yes, I do. But sometimes I need to clear my head.
Yeah, sometimes you need to get in a different headspace to solve your own problem. That happens to me too.
Exactly. Even though it's 6809, you just need to get out of your own headspace.
Yeah.
So, and that's, I don't know, that's probably been my motivation along with all the stuff I've done, it's like teaching people stuff. And I've got my own projects, stuff like that, stuff I want to get done. But teaching someone else something will actually give you something back. So it's like, yeah, okay, wow, revelation.
Yeah.
Just because you took the time out to help someone else.
Yeah, sometimes a good power nap does that too.
that's what Stevie said.
Is it wrong to do that on the show?
Oh, no problem.
Stevie says it's good to
So
see.
let's
Good
all
to
try
see
it.
them.
Let's all try it at once. Power nap in 3, 2, 1.
Stevie says
I
good to see
feel
the
refreshed.
the Madman. It's good to see him on the show. And earlier in the pregame show, we had Robert Sieg, Paul Fiscarelli, L. Curtis Boyle, Jim Brain, reminding us of the dumpster fire. Robert Sieg, Mark D. Overholzer, Nick Marotta, Jason Downs says, "Hi guys. Sound is fine on Facebook. That's probably the only place it was working." And Paul Fiscarelli and many, many more. Ken Reichert with lots of commentary and humor. Ken Reichert says he'll take Alf in the center square for the win. And hello, Brian Wiesler. He is asking what MIDI options were available for the CoCo, and some other folks can probably answer better than I, but I know there was I think something from Speech Systems. There were about 2 or 3 different products.
There were programs you could run. You could run MIDI directly from the Bitbanger port as well, from what I understand.
Yes,
I've
you could
never
create
tried
your
it,
own. You could create your own cable, and I actually looked in Lyra. Either I think it was Lyra said they would have instructions at the back of the manual, and for some reason it's not posted in the archive, so the back of the manual is missing. I'd prefer to use the Bitbanger port if I could avoid getting a multi-pack.
Yeah, the MIDI or the serial port in the back basically have to drive it at 32 kilobaud or whatever the MIDI speed is. So there was drivers for both RS-DOS for Lyra and some separate software specifically for MIDI, as well as Ultimuse and a few others under OS9 Nitrous 9 that used the Bitbanger port, but that was playthrough only. The hardware packs allowed you to do MIDI and forward stuff off your keyboard onto the CoCo, and also allowed them through so you could hook up multiple synths in a chain. So you have more advanced options on the hardware cards, but if you just wanted to play stuff, then the Bitbanger works fine.
Yeah, 31.25 I think is the MIDI rate.
Sorry, I said 32, didn't I?
Yeah, close enough.
So there's no current MIDI solution other than designing your own cable. Perhaps one of our hardware trolls can come up with something.
Yeah, Glenside had the MIDI pack out for a while, but I think they're sold out, if I remember.
That's right. Glenside had one.
Yeah, which was a clone of a previous one. I can't remember which version. Might have been Speech Systems.
All the music synthesizer interface stuff I'm working on, the hardware there is all analog control voltages and gate signals for analog modular synthesizers. So I'm not really focusing on MIDI in that regard. But if anybody else wants to use analog modular synthesizers with it, which are very much, especially in the Eurorack format, it's taken off big time. But some of us are still pushing the Moog format. So there's a big market for that there too. And if anybody who has CoCos and also has modular synthesizers, I'll have some stuff out there very soon. As soon as I can get mine all up and running. But not focusing on MIDI. So
yeah. If you do want MIDI, I think the most active person in the Coca community right now is Bill Pierce. He's actually he took over Ultimuse from Mike Knutson, since Mike is pretty well retired kind of from the Coca world at this point. But Bill's been keeping it up to date, and he's got some Nitrous 9 images that have the drivers and stuff built in for the serial port, and he's got players and stuff that you can actually play, up to 16 voice MIDI files directly from the Coco. So
yeah, I should post that in the chat because David, I think you would get a kick out of all the stuff that Bill Pierce has on his website.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah,
I will look for that.
No, I'm definitely keen to do some experiments with the CoCos with MIDI, for sure. Just because I'm not developing the MIDI hardware myself, it doesn't mean I'm not interested in it. I'm very interested.
Yeah.
So
I think as far as a MIDI sequence editor, like a music editor, I think Ultimuse actually probably is the most advanced one we had. And Lear probably second. They were both mouse driven, which made it easy to just plop your notes in, but it does take a while to enter in a score.
Yeah, this brings up a good subject that I wanted to ask you about, Curtis. Bill Pierce had designed the last version of Ultimuse to connect through DriveWire, and actually, I believe he incorporated his M shell GUI.
Yeah, which is actually based on Mike's graphics engine that he used in Ultimate.
Oh, okay. And it would update over the internet. That would be something that I would think as you go to beta 4 and into future releases of Nitrous 9, that perhaps that would be a good reason
Bill
to use.
Noble's already been talking about doing that for ease of use. Like I mentioned before, we're trying to get all the core stuff done so that anybody that has a Coco period can use that. And then we're going to start adding all the extra drivers. We'll be having a real-time clock, sound cards, DriveWire support, which I mean technically you can install right now. It's all there. I just haven't, and Bill hasn't had enough time to get into it and test it and see if there's any improvements we can make better too. Once the core stuff's done, that's where we'll be hitting. But probably Bill will be doing more of the third-party stuff, I think, than I'm going to concentrate on, upgrading Basic 9 some more and maybe adding some new graphic functions and stuff like that. So we're trying to split that up as much as we can. While trying to live real life and have time for it.
Hey Rick, if you could mute that typing is very aggressive.
Sorry, I forgot all about
it. No problem. I can't mute people on this version of Zoom. So yeah, so that would be very cool. You could be able to push out updates and then if people don't want to use the DriveWire cable, maybe they can figure out, once I figure out how to connect to Alan Huffman's modem and do it over Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and we'll still be distributing hard drive images too. So there's multiple ways to do it.
Yeah, I know that there's been a few people that have contacted me about some of the experiments that I've done with the ESP and using DriveWire through it. So it's it's handy. Curtis, I don't think Bill's came over and helped you get those modules hooked up for you yet, has he?
No, we've both been too busy, unfortunately. So it's that's real life interfering with everything again.
Yeah, I know how that works. Real life.
You just win the lottery and retire.
Yeah.
David, you got a huge buzz coming through, I think.
Sorry, I've got
related. I'm not sure.
It was the
I've got a dodgy mic cable on my lapel mic. I'll have to fix that during the week. So.
It seemed
My
like there was
apologies
a
there.
reaction between your microphone and your cat.
He jumped up and he stood on the cable and pulled it, and it went haywire. So,
Yeah, I thought your cat had his own censor button, and we were somehow offending him, or so.
I was going to say I can do that easily.
But yeah,
No,
I mean,
think,
ease of use currently supports DriveWire if you install the drivers. I know there's some stuff we have to kind of fiddle with because the level 3 upgrade, for example, is broke because of the way DriveWire has combined RBF and SCF in one massive driver, which is totally breaks how level 3 works. So I know Bill's been actively looking into that in between doing his ease of use boot file editor and stuff too. So, but if you have any DriveWire questions right now, as far as to how to install it or get it set up on the current ease of use, I think probably David or Bill would be the best. I haven't fiddled with DriveWire too much myself, so those two.
Yep. Bill Pierce was helping me out with that. But what do you mean by level 3 being broken?
Level 3 was something Alan DeCock did back in the Nitrous 9 commercial days that extended the system memory map. So it gave RBF its own 16K chunk and it gave SCF its own 60K chunk. And because those drivers never ran simultaneously through task switching, you could actually expand your system map from 64K to 80K, which gave you a lot more room to run more programs, run more windows, and generally free up a lot of RAM. And that was working up until stuff like DriveWire and some stuff that's been done on Nitrous 9 since it was released to be public, that it no longer works. And Bill's been kind of working on and off on trying to get that fixed. But basically, DriveWire will have to be split into an RBF DriveWire chunk and an SCF DriveWire chunk for that to ultimately work with DriveWire at all. Because it breaks the whole model that was based on.
Okay. So that was level 3, not to be confused with ease of use 3. So
no, and not to be confused with version 3, which is the upgrade that Kevin Darling and all the others did back in the late 80s.
And there's a song about that.
Yes. Sung by Monk.
Well,
So
we're talking about...
I have fixed OmniStar.
Oh, good.
So we're back up. So now, can I demonstrate my little problem here?
Sure.
Okay. So let's go. Here we are back in the kiosk program. So
should this
now
be the
I'm
core
going to
dump?
it could be, I suppose.
Should we
hit the break key?
All right. I can play some music for that.
Okay, you could do that.
We'll make it official. All right.
Yeah, and then zoom up the screen after.
This is a core dump. With your host, Rick Adams.
Okay, so I went back to the kiosk program from OmniStar, and then I just hit break. And then I'm going to go dir and IO error. Now I'm going to run it again. And now I'm going to hit it'll just work now. So I have no idea what's going on there.
Something in basics, probably not getting initialized, maybe something direct page.
Yeah.
One quick hack, I mean, Simon could be right, could be RQ related too. But one quick thing you could try is at the end of OmniStar when you exit it, is try clearing all of direct page to zeros maybe.
Oh, that's a thought.
And see if
I could try that.
fixes anything.
I also kind of wondered if there was something I could do in BASIC to straighten it out. I think it is doing a p-clear. Whoops. Let me break out of here and do this.
Yeah, the p-clear shouldn't cause an IO error though. That's assigning graphics RAM, etc. So
what about something like a dim command or something like clear memory as if you're setting up for an array or something, just to clear the memory out? Would something like that work?
Yeah. So we got like a p-clear 1, and and we mount a drive, RGB width 80, set some palettes, So like, okay, so dim, say like dim, A.
Dim A 1000 or something like that, or
just dim A1 or something, right?
or yeah, 1000 maybe. Or I think it's
Oh yeah. So dim
Just
and
out of
A
curiosity,
for
Rick, have you tried an on-air go-to or a Tron or something to see how far it's getting before it screws up?
that's a thought. Tron, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drive could
Well,
cause an IO error. That's the only line I think that could cause one.
So
the curiosity I have is it's an IO error. Like a P clear, you can get an error because there is a bug in BASIC where it's if it's moving the BASIC program while it's running, it screws up the first time. The second time it runs fine. But I don't recall it causing an IO error in particular. The way to fix that was you had to move the P clear to the end of the program, like do a go to 1000 or whatever, then do the P clear 1 and then go to back to the start of the code. And that fixed that back in that day. But I honestly don't remember it causing an IO error specifically. It was some other.
Yeah. Let's get this IO error. So 240. So let's list 240.
Debugging live. Aren't you excited, folks?
Yes. Yes.
Thrills, chills, and spills.
I want to go back to his screen.
And so that's, so it was waiting in a wait loop. And then when I hit 1, it says, well, if it's 1, then we're going to load M Omnistar. And that's no good. So you're saying jump to the back. Jump
move
to
your P clear statement to the very last line of your code.
Right.
And then your first line of your code becomes a go to that line. And then right after the P clear, go to the second line of the code.
Right. I can try that. What were the other things we were talking about? That sounds really wacky.
Omnistar itself to clear all of direct page if something in direct page.
Right. That's it. Yeah. Okay. So there's 2 things to try. So I will try those and I will get back to you guys.
And your third option is just have Simon fix it.
Yeah.
He'd fix it in an instant, no doubt.
That's
it helps me.
That's not a bad. That's not a bad idea.
But those are 2 quick things you can try because the basic one is just you have to add 3 lines of code basically.
Right.
Clearing direct page, you'll have to reassemble your Omnistar itself. But
well, that's not hard. So yeah, I also tried. I tried enabling the MMU, and then I made it so that the first memory segment was somewhere else. So basically, and then I put it back just before quitting Omnistar, and that didn't work. So, and that was why I took the code out for that, and I didn't completely take it out, and that was what was making it crash earlier. So I finally figured out what I had done and completely undid it, and then it was fine. So let me try those 2 things, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, I would try the P clear trick first, just because normally when that bug occurred, it did not give an IO error, but because the SDC Explorer makes things a little bit wonky compared to standard disk basic, maybe it is the same error.
Yeah. So
and that's easy to try because you already got the P clear. You just got to shift the position of it. So that's make it easy.
No problem. Will do.
And you could use a go sub statement for that too. Getting back to our beginning conversation we had before we went live, go sub and come back and Subway shut, and you've got a RG error, return without go sub. Sorry, I had to reiterate that joke, didn't I?
That way everybody knows what they missed.
Yeah, that was top secret stuff. Never to be repeated.
And the answer was
going to watch the DVD extras from this episode.
It's like you. Did I miss a bad joke? No, you missed several bad jokes, but it's okay.
You missed all of them.
Yeah. Well, if we asked Jim Brain, this whole show's a bad joke, so it doesn't matter.
It'll be with episode 101.
Do we want to take a commercial break and then maybe come back with some Dragon news? A few people were posting Retro Man Cave's Dragon video. I don't know. Are we allowed to play other YouTube videos? I guess we could, right?
As long as there's no commercial music or anything in it, it should be fine.
Should be fine. And then I don't know if somebody, I know we didn't arrange it ahead of time, Curtis, but if you have some news or Facebook stuff or something else.
I haven't had a chance to look. I've been out all day. So. I could make some up.
Yeah. I could direct you to a few things that I posted. We could talk about modems and stuff. But why don't we go to commercial and we'll see you in a little bit. How about before Nick falls asleep? How about we have a little bit of OS 9 Forever? Hi, it's Curtis Boyle, part of the CoCoTALK crew of people.
Hey everybody, this is Bill Noble co-author of Nitrous 9. You are listening to CoCoTALK Live, the leading live Coco Talk show.
G'day, mates. This is Nick Marionettes, author of such colour computer titles as Donut Disaster, Rupert Rhymes, and Rockstar Pilot. And I am here today to tell you about the world's most fabulous operating system, OS 9. OS 9 and its current incarnation, Nitrous 9, is the most advanced operating system ever created. And what makes it so good? Ease of use. I find OS 9 so incredibly intuitive that I haven't once cracked open the user manual, and yet I've been able to create such incredible games faster than the time it takes to sing Waltzing Matilda. Using OS 9, I expect my next game, Funstar, will be done this weekend and distributed exclusively on ROM cartridge. OS 9 forever.
Any resemblance to actual events to persons living or dead is purely coincidental.
Radio Shack has a great gift idea for the whole family. Fast action TV games, and they're on sale. Get this 6-game model for $29.95 or the 4-game model for $21.95. With rising entertainment costs, it's a real bargain. You play hockey, tennis, squash, and more. Easy to hook up and great family fun that lasts all year long. The sale price TV games. Only at Radio Shack, a Tandy company.
We now return you to CoCoTALK.
And, oops. And thank you, Speech Sound Pack.
If you don't need a screwdriver to hook it up to your TV, I'm not interested.
I have one of those somewhere.
A TV set or a screwdriver?
Actually, both, but the TV games with the light gun. I have one of those somewhere.
Telstar? Or is it Telstar? Is that what it's called?
The Radio Shack TV games, the one that was just in that ad there. I have that actual one somewhere.
You have the 4-in-1 or the 6-in-1 with a gun?
No, the 6-in-1 with a gun.
It's a real bargain.
Well, with rising entertainment costs, Jason.
Yeah.
Yes. Rising. Yes, because Netflix just raised their price, so that's rising entertainment costs.
Yeah, you can have a permanent 6-in-1 game system for the price of 2 months of Netflix with 4K. So
that's a bargain there.
Netflix at 4K, that'll run on an MC10, won't it?
Yeah, Netflix 4K on your MC10.
It plays movies in semi-graphics 6, which is a little odd, but yeah.
Go home, pong, and chill.
Yeah.
MC10 semi-graphics, the graphics that make ANSI look high resolution. Oh.
Woke the baby.
So you said you had some news articles that you'd found? Because like I said, I never had a chance to look at anything.
Yeah,
so
why don't we?
I'm fully willing to discuss them.
Well, I gave you seconds to prepare, Curtis.
Yeah, it's more than Steve normally gives me, so that was good.
Gives you nanoseconds.
Well, yeah, you had a whole commercial break there, Curtis. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had, OS 9 forever.
I was going to quickly write Funstar too, but I just didn't quite have enough time.
You can pull up Retro Man Cave, right, on your YouTube desktop somewhere? It should be his most recent video if you do YouTube Retro Man Cave. I'm afraid to do anything with my computer lest I break the whole show.
Good call.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm not touching nothing here.
Yeah, we're running well now, so yeah.
Retro Man Cave, like one word or multiple words, or
Retro Man Cave, one word.
1K.
In the YouTube, you'll see Welsh Dragon Computer. It's 2 days ago video. 31,000 views, which is only 31,000 more than CoCoTALK usually.
Mine's giving like links, Amiga, Minitel, Vacstation. I don't see Dragon in.
I can post it. I'll just post. Post the link. Oops.
Oh, that sounded like it was backwards.
It's upside down.
See you support.
I'll post it in Facebook, or I'm sorry, I'll post it on the YouTube.
The YouTube.
Out there on the internets.
Well, I tried both those things, and nothing
Neither
worked. Yeah.
Glad to be of such help.
Yeah, well, it's a good try. You only hate my code for clearing code 0. It's not terribly efficient.
Yeah, it's a one-time deal. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's about right. You can be as sloppy as you want, but yeah, that should do it. So, heck, who knows?
So Simon
All
might be
right.
right. It might be an RQ, like a timer RQ or an MI or something straight that's not getting shut off properly.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have a. Let's see. We're turning off the interrupts. Yeah. Of course, I could do that earlier. So, well, got me. It'll probably get fixed at CoCoFest.
Or in Simon's basement.
Yeah, that's a thought.
Assuming he has a basement, I have no idea.
That sounds like a new segment, Simon's Basement.
Mortgage.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, less creepy than David's basement.
Better yet, Simon's Cellar.
Oh, generation.
And washing machines and stuff like that, and boilers.
Well,
that just adds to the ambiance.
And cat toilets.
Cellar makes me think of wine. Basement makes me think of kidnapping. So I would go with.
And wine thing makes me think of Stevie Store trying to get past level 1, but.
He's not here to defend himself.
Well, that's the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, I'll put the link to that video if you want me to post that.
Yeah, if you want to post it, you can skip ahead to 2:41. I think that's where he starts to show some visuals.
Yeah, we're not going to play the whole thing though. I'm assuming we're just going to kind of summarize it.
No, just skim through it.
I don't have time to watch it right now, and I haven't seen it before, so you'll have to kind of.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it, but I've seen a lot of his videos. He did a whole restoration on a TRS-80 Model 1, which I encourage everybody to watch.
So is this what he's doing? He's fixing a dragon that's broke or something? Or
this one is just a part 1 of a series, I guess, where he's going to talk about the Dragon computer in general and what it was all about and how it came to be. And it looks like he's going over the ports.
Yeah, because I've just been skimming ahead, and he's got like a multimeter on it and stuff. So I don't know if he's trying to fix it or if he's just showing what.
Oh, I stand corrected. Sorry, his trashed treasure is always a restoration. So yes,
okay.
You were correct.
He's trying to fix it. It's actually got a bad power supply to start with.
So so yeah, we could just show a couple of the visuals for a few seconds. I don't know how to make you. I think you'd have to share your screen. Do I have to stop sharing something?
I think you have to stop sharing your screen so Curtis can share his.
Well, I stopped sharing system sound.
Oh, that's a good start.
Does that work? Or do I want to keep sharing system sound?
No, I think you want to stop sharing system sound.
Stop sharing system sound, right? Yeah. All right. You try to, Mark, go ahead and try to share your screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're not getting off the hook that easily.
If that'll work.
Oh, there we go.
So I had
as long you can keep it muted. I mean, well, I guess you could play a little bit of it.
It had a real keyboard.
Of the fledgling computer industry here in the UK, an industry the likes of Sir Clive Sinclair and other homegrown computer talent were enjoying great success in. Having decided they wanted to enter the market, they needed to come up with a machine
And then I think later
When
on,
we look inside,
he actually tries
fixing
to.
those ports were popular at the time with these small analog stuff.
Who knows if that's copyright or not? But then he actually tries to troubleshoot it. He's finding he's got some bad regulators.
Who has a dragon in this group?
I do.
I did, but I swapped it for a Coco Free.
David Ladd, do you have one?
Am I glad I have a Coco Free? Yes, I am.
Oh, David Ladd has to go. Did Simon? Did you have one originally when it came out?
No, I didn't. The first computer I had was a Korean Coco 2.
Okay.
There's something I'd like to add to my collection, but maybe I'll find one at Coco Fest, but I doubt it. Those things seem to be, the Tano dragons seem to be a hard one to find.
Yeah, I think the Korean Coco 2s weren't very big in the US either. You know, the ones with the T1 VDG.
I believe my Coco 2 was Korean, but I only remember my 16K, but I did have a 64K for a period of time as well.
Okay.
I couldn't find
to look.
I couldn't find the second version of this where he fixes it, maybe, or whatever.
Well, he hasn't produced it yet.
Yeah, the second part's not out yet, I don't think, from when I was looking there.
So the Dragon had a switch mode power supply, or is there an external transformer brick with that as well?
That looks like
yeah, that transformer, and then there's just a linear power supply inside.
Yeah, it looks. I was going to say that transistor on the heatsink and the layout, just filter caps and diodes. There was nothing switching in that. That was just a linear.
No. So there is a brick, a power supply brick to plug in as well. Is there externally?
Well, that had the transformer.
External. Yeah.
Transformer
It was
external.
obviously an AC output from the transformer because that board had the rectifier diodes built onto it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just such a big box, and yet you've still got to have an external brick power supply. I mean, that could have fitted the power supply all inside the one box, like the Coco does.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, he shows it in the early part of the video. I think he shows the transformer.
All right.
I'm assuming they did that due to heat, that they made it external. Maybe there was overheating the chips too much or something.
Well, Coco does it fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a Korean Coco too. It says it's made in Korea. I don't. Is there any other requirements for it to be Korean?
It depends on the layout.
Are the keys slanted?
Is it?
Oh, okay. I almost thought that was a serious question for a moment.
The modulator is a different orientation, and they use different RAM than the US Coco.
Yeah, there's only 2 RAM chips. They're 4464s or 40.
Yeah, and it has the double header, like the Coco 3 512 upgrade, to put in a satellite board with the 8 4164 chips if you wanted to.
I don't know. This one's been modified for composite. This is actually the Coco 2 that the best I can come up with that I acquired it at PenFest because I saw pictures of it. I'm like, this is the same one. But
I think that's the older version.
Take the keyboard out.
Look at the RAM there.
Jason, take the keyboard out and show me the board.
Is it the North Korean or the South Korean version?
Is it before or after Kim?
Yeah, there's your.
This Coco is made in Korea.
Yeah, that's got like a massive RAM chip. It's got like 8 RAM chips on it, so it's.
Yeah, it's got to be the older one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the older one. Because the most recent ones had only 2 RAM chips. There were 2 like 4416, so 4-bit by 16K, or 2 4464s.
And then they had little headers on either side for a retrofit to hold the 8 64s if it needed to.
Yeah, you could do that as well. Yeah, and most of them
this doesn't have anything like that, obviously.
Most of them had the T1 VDG, which is actually called XC something or other.
Is that the one that would do the lowercase?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Lowercase, inverse video, full border, etc.
That's what this one is behind me.
The way you can test that easily, is type in a 0. You type a 0, you get a normal 0. You get a 0 with a stripe through it. The one with a stripe through it is the T1 VDG.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
There you go.
there's a couple of pokes too you can do to see what the lowercase and stuff looks like too.
So I'm actually surprised they didn't integrate that stuff into BASIC. I mean, the one thing they did do when they introduced the T1 VDG was to nuke SG6. SG6 went out the window, and the other thing was the 2 extra orange colors in CSS1. They just disappeared.
Well, the thing is, BASIC was modified to handle upper lowercase, but that was on the deluxe Coco that used the T1 VDG that never came out.
You can get a Coco VGA, and then you've got it on a standard 6847.
Yeah, actually on the Coco VGA, you can swap between the 2 character sets, so you can have a T1 compatible or the old style. The one other thing they did is they moved some of the character cells, like what parts were there. So some of the stuff that used semi-graphics tricks using text characters.
Yeah,
like
it's moved by one or two lines.
Yeah,
it's moved by 1 or 2 lines.
Yeah, on Protectors 2, the little guy waving his hands looks totally screwed up on a T1 VDG because now the things it's trying to grab to make the high-res graphics is not there in the right spots.
Yeah.
Some of the magazines had had articles where you could switch between standard and the lowercase sets. I think they had you could just flip one of the pin, change one of the pins or add a gate, and you could select between both sets.
Yeah, like the old reverse video switches they used to have for the older VDGs too, where you could just flip a switch and it would instantly invert the video. Yeah.
And Ron, what are you showing us here?
Here's a 0 with a slash in it.
Oh.
T1? T1 0.
T1.
Yeah.
So,
also,
cool.
It's a real-time clock running.
So I've got
You're just rubbing it in, Ron.
Yes. Both in one.
No wonder Ron was on time today. He was early. He had that real-time clock.
Yep.
Simon, the 4464s are basically 4 pages of 4164. Is that right? Or
yeah, instead of 1x64, they were 4x64.
Yeah.
So they were a little bigger package.
Simon, you're muted, by the way.
Sorry. Wasn't me. I didn't do it. Nobody saw me do it. Can't prove anything.
Dolly did it.
I just posted a link in the chat if anyone wants to play that. A very small part of my Coco free demo. I'll let you see that much.
Oh, here we go.
Mark, do you want to be our resident screen sharer? For, yeah.
Okay, I can try. Let me get the chat here.
It's a Zoom chat.
Oh, Simon, is this like the beginning of the demo, or is it a chunk of the middle? Or
no, it's after the beginning. It's after the beginning. Let me say that much.
Okay.
Simon, this is a public-facing link that I can put in YouTube chat?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, just making sure.
Okay.
It's not a public link, but I'll make it public. But that,
okay.
that little bit is fine.
Okay.
All right. So someone needs to unshare so I can share.
I am stopping my share. It's all you, Mark.
Okay.
So I think Ron Delvaux is probably itching his fingers to show you the rest of it, but he's wants secrecy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me hit the go.
Sound on the Simon, or
yes.
Okay, I've got the sound turned on and hit go. Can you all see that?
Yep.
Yep. It's good here.
Oh wow.
There's no sound on that.
There's supposed to be sound, right?
Yeah. Probably turn up the YouTube video or something.
I can hear the sound.
Okay, it's just me.
Might be not sharing it through Zoom.
Well, let me see if I can figure that out.
Can you share your system sound? If you go to share and then advanced.
So, of course, this is lagging like I don't know what because we're sharing this, but when it runs on a real Coco, it's completely different.
And the black horizontal lines in the Simon, is that just because you're doing a skip scan line thing on the emulator, or is that what it actually?
It's a skip scan line because what's actually happening is I'm plotting the whole screen. I'm just masking it out.
Okay.
The image itself is probably 4K, something like that. It's being shown on a larger screen. It's taking it a word at a time, plotting it out, and it's doing sine cosine lookup into a color table.
I think I found the share button.
And Simon, a friend of yours composed this music for his original music, right?
Wow.
I think the real question is, when are we getting the Nick Marotta ukulele version of that song?
Simon, I don't know if you heard me earlier, but I was going to ask you, the music there, that's an original composition by a friend of yours, if I remember correctly.
Yes, a good friend from America. An 8-bit guy.
Is that via single bit sound or via the 6-bit DAC or?
No, that is 6-bit sound. That's just two voices. It's only two voices, and it's inherent sawtooth.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I mean, you should hear it properly. I sent you a file that you should actually hear because it's inherent sawtooth, and you can make it sound like, well, a lot of stuff. And we actually use an an XM tracker to compose in, you know, like stuff like OpenMP2.
Yep.
So
Oh,
an
cool.
XM tracker, and I have conversion software to convert 1, 2, 3, 4 voices, whatever.
Yeah, that's cool. It's nice work.
So
Very nice work.
no sound chip.
No sound chip at all. And to tell the truth, right now, that was an early version of it. I'm taking maybe 35% CPU to play 2 voices and load from disk and display demo and all the gubbins. You'll see it at CoCoFest.
I'm going to load that up after the show on my Coco 3 and have a play around. Look.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if you want to hear it proper, I can send you the XM file.
Okay.
Just write me a PM on Bookface. All good.
Yep, we'll do. Cool.
And that graphics, is that 640 resolution?
No, that's actually very small. I'm not about to fire up my code right now because I can't talk to you and look at something at the same time. I'm not good at concentrating on 2 things at once. You know, I'm very hyper focused. It comes with being Asperger. That's what it is.
I can relate. Totally relate to that.
Probably 128 or 160, I'm guessing, right?
It's 160.
Okay.
It's 160.
Yeah, that's really good.
A lot of graphics here are using smaller resolutions for the whole demo because of space constraint. Because it's painful to have to load like 28K or 32K just for a picture. You know, that's very painful, but I'm also using compression techniques. And here I'm using Kieran Sexy, the author of XRAW. I'm using his dzip routine. So I can take like a 256 by 225 picture that's normally 28K, 32K, and shrink it down to about 9. So I can fit it in 1.5 tracks, or to load it in 1.5 tracks.
That's a significant reduction.
Yes, it is. It is. It's kind of, if you don't know Sixty's dzip routine, you should really look it up because it's kind of a hybrid between, I don't know, LZ and just normal RLE, you know, run length encoding. It's kind of a hybrid
and
thing.
level ZEV is what you're talking about for LZ.
Exactly. Yes, it is. It is pretty. It's pretty much based around LZ, and the decompressor itself is like, it's not even.
He calls it dzip. Is it actually based on any of the zip algorithms? Because there's like 4 or 5 depending which version of zip you're using. But
yeah, he calls it dzip, but it's mostly based around Limpel Ziv.
Okay, but not
So
in
that's-
levels
that's-
of Welsh.
That's uncompressing on the fly, yeah? It would have to be if it's as it's running, or does it uncompress into RAM and then?
No, I uncompress it. I load it, maybe 5K a file, 10K a file, and I uncompress it in memory. And dzip works like such. You only need a little bit of headroom to be able to overwrite stuff, if you know what I mean. You just have to go a little bit behind it. Just keep up. It's like chasing the beam.
Yep.
So yeah, all these kind of funky things. What I'm planning to do at CoCoFest is actually release the source code for the whole demo. Just to give you an idea of all the stuff that's involved in it, because I've got a lot of high-level stuff. I've got a lot of VB scripts that make lookup tables, that do various palette animations, all kinds of stuff. And it's just, okay, what techniques can we use to produce a really, really wicked presentation on a Coco 3?
Now, Simon, I have a 128K Coco 3, and I only have that, and I was wondering, will I be able to see that on my Coco 3?
The whole demo is that's the thing. I have targeted the base hardware. The whole demo is surrounding a 128 Coco 3 bog standard.
Cool.
With a 5.25 floppy. And that's it. Right, because don't get me started on SDCs, don't get me started on 512K, don't get me started on 6309s, because I won't stop.
It'll just take some time. It took like 10 years to get Nick, to finally use a 6309. So.
Yeah.
Wait. Won't it make a better show if we do get you started?
Yes, but that'll be next time. That'll be next time.
That's
We
right.
got counterpoint.
Right.
So, but yeah. I mean, I could show you so many things, but I just don't want to spoil it for you.
Right. I test stuff for him, so I kind of said that in jest because, he'll give me a thing to try, and he'll go try it on that one, try it on the crazy one, try it on the normal one, and then try it on the 128. So I'll do that and send him videos, and then he goes back and fixes something or does something else and sends it back.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've had a few good laughs with that one, haven't we?
Oh yeah.
It's like boom! I blew up.
Yeah.
I prefer to call those screensavers when I do it in Nitrous 9. So
yeah, sometimes when it doesn't work, I show him and he goes and then he's got like 5 or 10 lines of text where he's expressing craziness.
Yeah, I must apologise there too, Simon. I don't want you to get the idea that I'm not enthusiastic about your demo. I've just had some crazy, like this week and last week has just been absolutely crazy here. So I haven't even had time to finish building my power supply yet. So
yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Actually, I've had a really nasty week at work because I'm doing some stuff. It's got like what is it? Microsoft Dynamics, AX. It's got AX lookup tables and stuff like this. And I'm like, no, you're not giving me the right bloody data. So I cannot tell you the invoice number. You're not giving me the right bloody data, I'm just scratching my head all week about that. It's like the customer, yeah, I want this, I want that, I want the other. Well, excuse me, if you don't give me the right data, I can't give you that. So Coco for me is a bit of an outlet from everyday. Usually I program .NET or like JavaScript or VB script or all stuff high level HTML turd. Around.
Makes 6809 stuff so much more enjoyable, hey?
Yeah, at the end of the day, you're thinking, okay, I program HTML, I program JavaScript, I do this, Ajax, all that kind of crap on a daily basis. And when I get home, do I just want to zonk out on my sofa and do nothing? A lot of people would, but if I do that, I just die because I need to be active all the time. Otherwise, I go stir crazy, get cabin fever.
So when you're programming this other stuff, you don't have to worry about memory size or anything, right? You just when you come to the Coco, you're like, oh no.
For the Coco is a challenge. Coco is always a challenge, it's always a challenge, and that's what's the fun thing about it.
Yeah, totally agree. Seeing what you can do. That's why I still like the Coco 1. So I've got the Coco 3 here, which I'm really starting, I'm really going to dig into and learn all the extra stuff that it can do. But there's still a charm about trying to get the maximum I can get out of the Coco 1. And that's when I do this interface stuff with the modular, I really want to push it as far as I can, like tight timing wise and everything, and run live sequencing off the thing with analog control voltage outputs and everything, and see if I can get the whole thing working tightly in real time. And that's I totally get you on the challenge. It's something that we thrive on.
Yeah, to me that's it's probably going to sound totally wacky, but that is beauty in itself. You know? It's like, okay, we've got this limited hardware. Someone else made this little tiny box, and no, I'm sorry, there is no box. You know, the box is inside my brain. You know, the box is dictated by society, and I will not be dictated to. So there is no box.
Yep. There is no spoon. We're going to Matrix.
So programming in the Coco keeps your feet on the ground, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it cleanses the palate literally, because I do that too, because I program for my job too, and it's not in the standard Cocos type stuff, but something about programming to the metal where you're not worried about I'm calling some APIs that some other guy made 10 years ago or whatever, and I have no idea what it's doing type thing, but actually literally everything that's going on. So
yeah, you're writing the whole lot from the ground up.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And you're pushing. I mean, you're trying to say, okay, fine, I'll try this, and I'll get this logo doing the blah 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 thingy. And Jesus, it's slow. It's really slow. Okay, what can I push here? What can I push there? And what can I unwind without unwinding the whole lot to make it feel 64K? Because then it would run like a bloody Amiga. But yeah, what can I do to push a limit, kind of thing.
And the thing is, you're pretty successful at it.
Yeah, but I haven't always been Coco, you know. I mean, my Coco was my very first computer. My dad bought it for me for Christmas back in maybe 83, 84. And I played with that for a couple of years, and that was in the UK. I originally come from the UK, and I moved to Denmark in 1986, and I took it with me. Took the Coco with me, and we always used to play. I mean, we used to play all the games, you know, like the old Cuthbert in Space, or King Tut, or Electron, stuff like that. We used to play them games, and yeah, it was a good childhood. But then I got involved in the C64 for a few years with a couple of guys, and I mean, I did demos on a C64, and I was always like, well, okay. Yes, I loved that. And I moved on from the C64. I briefly touched the Amiga, and I mean very briefly. And then I moved on to 82, 86, 83, 86 while I was studying computer science. And then I just dropped out of the demo scene for ages because it was work. And I became interested in cars. Done this, I've done that. I became interested in model airplanes, and all of a sudden you've got a turnabout. Things come around. So, okay, my son is back in, well, when I first showed him the C64 5 or 6 years ago, he was like 11 or 12. It's like, yeah, I'll show you something cool. So I dug out a C64, and he goes, oh, that's good. Connect that up to 1541, shoved in all the discs, playing Rambo, playing Commando, all this stuff. And he's like, oh, that's really cool. I says, I'll show you something cool now. So I got right in the back of the attic, and I dug out the Coco 2. And I just loaded up tapes on the Coco 2. All the tapes still work. I loaded them up. And as soon as I turned on that machine, like 30 years after the fact, it's like, okay, I've learned a lot of shit in 30 years, so now I'm going to push this. Now I'm really going to push this thing, you know? So everything goes in a circle. You know, be that fashion, be that whatever, everything goes in a circle.
It's pretty, I know I've said it a number of times on the show, but it's just, I hear you on that too. It's really cool just that there's this community here. Like, you know, some of us are part of that community, and people like, you know, Brendan Donaghy and Ed Snyder and you know, others developing all this hardware for our gear now as well. And And then when we start to network with each other, and someone gets an idea, and someone else says, "Oh, I've done something with hardware that might work with this," and someone says, "I've got a software idea here," and we can pool our resources together. And someone says, "Oh yeah, you want to build a circuit? I can print the circuit boards for you," or something like that. And it's all of a sudden we've got all these resources that we could only dream of in the 80s. It's just fantastic.
And that is so good. You know, that is so good.
Just opens up so many doors.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And my mother the other day asked me, she goes, all right, you've been doing this Coco stuff. She goes, how did you get all this stuff? I mean, all of a sudden you have all this stuff. I said, well, it was in my garage. And she goes, well, where did you get it? And I go, oh, I've had it. So some of it I've had, some of it I've, gotten. Well, she goes, I just all of a sudden you have all this stuff, and I just wondered how you got it,
Just fell off the back of a truck.
Yeah, most of us
came out of a dumpster that was on. We set fire to the dumpster afterwards. We got the stuff out of it first.
Yeah. I've also got telescopes, about the same as the Coco stuff. So, she knows how I got the telescopes in that, but using both together, which is something I did last week. I set up my Coco and a Model 1000 and put software on it showing planetarium programs, and I had my telescope set up. It was a dark sky thing, and I was able to merge both my hobbies together. So
yeah, that was cool.
Yeah,
it was good seeing those photos. Saw your Coco 1 set up there as well.
Yeah, I forgot the cable to the monitor. I couldn't turn it on.
Oops.
But it was there. People got to see. A lot of people were just as interested in the computers. They would come to me and want to talk about the scope a little bit, and then, well, what are these? Those are Radio Shack. Well, Radio Shack's gone, isn't it? And I go, well, I just bought this shirt there. No. Yeah, there's
it's
still
a t-shirt
around.
shop now.
Yeah. and batteries. Once you buy the shirt, they start sending you ads for batteries.
Carbon zinc batteries.
Well, and they still have their network of independent dealers if you're willing to. Most of them are in the country, though.
Yeah.
Just like the last Blockbuster, you're the last Radio Shack.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the Radio Shack dealers, I hadn't visited it before. I was like, oh, this isn't too far. It wouldn't be too bad of a drive. I go out there. They're going out of business. The owner is retiring.
Oh.
Maybe you could take over his franchise.
I think it's beyond that. It's I think he's down to selling the fixtures and stuff now. But I learned about it too late.
In the All Things Radio Shack group, there's a Radio Shack that left. They closed from the building they were in, and they were able to reorganize and move right back in, and the sign never came down.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's
Simon's got some
floppies
more floppies. And,
Looks like he has a few.
25s.
And you got an MC10 that's, I guess, supporting the floppies?
No, but I'd love to.
And they're the proper floppies too, not the 3.25s.
Hey, Jason, where was your Coco made, or your MC10?
Good question. Let's take a look here. It was.
Mine says Korea.
North Korea.
Yeah, North Korea.
Yeah.
Hey, and it actually tells me what kind of voltage I need on the bottom. I guess I could have just looked at the bottom of this thing.
Yeah, and this
product of Korea. There it is.
And this was made in Canada.
I don't have one of those. I'm limited. I'm limited to 4K. So unfortunately, that limits me to just a very small collection, or part of the Jim Gary collection, and so I can get more RAM for it.
So it's an MC10.
It's a very big screen though, 4K.
So no, that's it. 4K.
I'll get my code.
Don't have one of those.
Again.
Don't have one of those.
What's that? A parallel? Oh, no. What is that?
That's
memory.
That's a 20K RAM upgrade.
Where is yours from, Simon?
I will read it on the bottom. Custom manufactured in Korea for Radio Shack, a division of Tandy Corporation.
How about your
The entire MC10 run was made in Korea, wasn't it? Wasn't that their first foray into overseas manufacturing?
How about your expansion pack?
Custom manufactured in Korea.
Oh, I thought Ron said his MC10 was made in Canada. What was made in
No,
Canada?
my the ROM pack.
Oh, okay.
The memory upgrade.
There's something else I can look for at Coco Fest is an MC10 expansion pack. I think I'll have just about as much luck as buying a dragon.
Courtesy of Kim.
Well, you do have the MCX you can order too. So.
Oh yes, that's the Ed Snyder one, right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think it was made by Darren Atkinson actually.
No, but I think that's the one that Ed produced us then. I think.
Produced it
It's the same
afterwards.
as the SDC. I mean, Darren designed that too, and
right
factors them. So.
So, but yes, this is actually this is not a European MC10 because they did actually make a PAL version. This is a US version sent to me by another very good Coco friend, Wayne Michael, and he sent it to me. He sent it to me just to send it to me because he's like, well, you can do a lot more on this than I can.
Can you even use it then?
Yes, I have. I mounted one of Ed Snyder's composite thingamybobs. You could see the.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. That would make a world of difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's made in Fort Worth.
Oh well, so they made them in Korea and Canada and USA.
Nope, this is Korea.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I did actually make a few MC10 demos, and I'll probably go back to it at some point. Because
you made one for last year, remember?
Yeah. Just
rotating cube or something, wasn't it?
Just to piss off Steve Bjork, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember. I remember Ron running that demo and said you had sent it over.
Yeah, and Mr. Bjork just walked past it like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I got it right from my phone from him live, and we ran it.
It's like, no, that kind of shit doesn't happen. Welcome to MATLAB. So, but yeah. It's a good little machine, and I wish, as much as Tandy stuffed up on this one, because they also did stuff up on this one, and they stuffed up on the Coco too. They should have taken a little bit from this and a little bit from that. They should have taken the timer from this and stuck on the Coco too.
What do you mean timer? What do you mean?
This the MC10 has got a programmable timer. The Coco 2 does not. And if the Coco 2 had a programmable timer, it would be so much better.
When you say programmable timer, you mean like something like a dedicated hardware?
A dedicated hardware programmable
interrupt-driven timer, basically like the Coco 3 has for like driving sound, for example.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And the MC10 has got a timer, but the bad thing they did with the MC10 was not connect the last address line for the VDG. So even though you expanded it, you could not get a P mode full screen because only 7 out of 8 address lines were connected. So the top half of the screen will be repeated at the bottom half of the screen.
It's like a stupid oversight. Why did Tandy do that?
Because it was originally designed as 4K.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, basically you were limited to any of the 3K and under modes. So like a P mode 3 can't do it. P mode 4 can't do it.
Well, hold
You
on.
can do it P mode 4.
Well, I mean, I shouldn't say can't do it. You can't do it.
Did Tandy do that?
There we go.
Professional show, everyone.
And the other thing would be like, well, yes, they didn't connect the last address line of the VDG, fine. But why the heck did they not connect one of the sync lines to something? You know, like V-Sync or H-Sync to something. No, it's not connected.
So I'm going to
It's
go out on a
all just,
limb.
it's
and
all
say
just
that
interlaced. Processor
least-
video, processor video, processor video. So you can't get a fixed hold on it without user input.
I'm going to say it was to save money.
Is this a limitation of the ROM or actual hardware on the motherboard?
It's saving money. It's saving a few cents.
Yep.
That's usually always the short answer to why did Tandy do that.
Yeah, pretty much.
There you go. Yeah, yeah.
I think it was marketed as a little computer for the kids to learn programming on. I don't think it was really meant to be anything more than that.
I don't think so either. It's okay. I can appreciate what it is. I mean, but it's not very good. But it's okay. It's a neat little toy. Have I messed with it a lot? No, because I only have 4K and it's not that great, and I'd rather play with a Coco. But it's a neat little accent piece to my Coco collection.
Yeah,
Tandy, I think, basically wanted to compete with the Sinclair ZX8081, not knowing that market was going to crash fairly quickly when they were designing the MC10. So by the time it came out, I mean, the Sinclairs were already jumping up to the Spectrum and stuff. So the ZX8081 market was already dying by the time it came out.
But is it really a gimmick? You know, it was probably designed as a gimmick, but is it really a gimmick? Because you've got a 6803 microcontroller in it, and 6803 has been used a lot of places, you know, and
I don't know. I don't think it was a gimmick. I think it was aimed at a market that Tandy did not realize at the time was about to end. And as usual, Tandy, you know, a little too late type thing.
Hey,
So
guess what? 6308 or 6803 in here.
yeah, and there's 6803 in a lot of automotive applications as well.
The Tandy CGP 115 plotter printer, I think, has a 6803.
What's that you got there, Ron?
220 is a 6809.
What is that you got there, Ron?
I have it's an X10 TRS-80 color computer plug-in power controller, and I'm turning a light on and off with it.
Ah, that's okay. That's the networking thing. Yeah, okay.
It's an X10. Yep, here's an X10 module.
You got that recently, didn't you?
Yeah, I got the modules. I've had the unit for a long time, and I have a module that doesn't work. I found two at Goodwill for $1.99 a piece. Anyway, so I programmed this, and it you can go ahead and bypass the computer, or you can program it to. I have it programmed to come on in the evening and go off in the evening all by itself, and you can make it so that it doesn't always go off at the same time. You can have it go off a few minutes earlier, a few minutes later, in what's called security mode.
It's got a real-time clock.
Yes, it has a real-time clock. It does inside.
I have something else here. It's not Tandy, but I need to experiment with it at some point in time. And you're probably going to shun me for it, but there you go.
Oh yeah, Acorn, Electron.
Oh wow! Haven't heard.
Yeah, I've got one of those.
Haven't heard about one of those for years.
Yeah, I've got to play with that at some point in time. I mean, it's got the same CPU as the 64, the 6502, and this funky thing. They also made mistakes like Tandy did with the MC10 or whatever, because a lot of the last games on this is like, well, all around the game screen is crud. And why is there crud all around the game screen? Because that's your code, you know.
I heard that has the same VDG as our machine.
Yeah.
I haven't really played with it that much yet, but I bought it. I bought it on off chance, just 'cause it's a quirk.
Is anybody here running Cloud9 PS2 keyboards on any of their CoCos?
No. I mean, my Coco keyboards are pretty new. One was new old stock. So I have a kind of an ergonomic setup I'm okay with using the Coco keyboard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm curious about whether you had the PS2 USB to PS2, so you could use a USB 3 keyboard on a PS2 computer. And I'm wondering whether the Cloud9 will work with that. Whether you could use, I know certain USB keyboards wouldn't work with the PS2 adapters, but some would. And I'm just wondering if the ones that would work on a PC would also work with the Cloud9. Maybe it's something to ask them, I suppose.
Yeah, you might have to test that. For me, it feels too much like an emulator to me, and I'll have to figure out how to map all the keys, and that's why I'd rather use the Coco keyboard. But I know you have a different problem with your Coco 3, so you're looking for any keyboard.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't have F keys at all. I've got a chiclet keyboard on it. So.
Make it very hard for you to run Twilight Terminal or OS 9 or a lot of things use the F1 keys.
Yeah, and Alt and Control on OS 9 in particular are used constantly. So.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a Coco 1.2 keyboard that has the right connector on it, like an HGL or one of those ones that does have the extra function keys, those do map to the same keys as the Coco 3 has. And though I think HGL, for example, labeled them F1 through F4, and they might not correspond exactly by label, but they would still work to do the extra
function. Yeah. Okay. One thing I do. Oh.
If we're talking about why did Tandy do that? Why did they do this?
Oh dear.
What?
Why did they do that?
Speech sound pack. Why? What? So that we could play practical jokes on people ringing up, with the phone calls and getting the.
It is. Oh God! Why did they stick a pig chip in front of the bloody AY?
They wanted you to buy a multi-pack and a.
Yes, but why did they stick a pig chip in front of the AY? I can understand they stuck a pig chip in front of the SPO, but not the AY, because every register, you've got one address, so you have to say, okay, I want that register in direct mode, and then you have to poll it. You have to poll it. Okay, you busy, you busy, you busy. No, I'm not busy. Okay, here's your data. All right, I want the next register. You busy, you busy, busy. Here's your data. No, just no. Do not do that to an AY chip.
Should mention here, Jim Brain piped up in the chat here concerning USB keyboards. He says if the USB keyboard works with a passive PS2 adapter on a PC, it should work with the Cloud9 adapter.
Perfect. That was my question.
But he does mention, as you mentioned before too, that not all USB keyboards will work. They need a PS2 fallback.
Yep. Yeah. My Coco 3 in the background there. This is my Coco 2 Coco 1. Sorry, that the chiclet keyboard came out of. So it's keyboardless at the moment, and that's got a Coco VGA in it. So I want to get that one back up and running again. You can see there on the back. There's the Coco VGA, and that's 64K. It's extended color basic and everything. And I've got a Model 4 case on the way. I think I posted, some of you might have seen the post I made on Facebook about it.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was originally toying with the idea of putting the Coco 3 in that, but then I thought, no, I've only got one Coco 3 here, and I want to keep that one in the original case. And I've got 3 Coco 1s, so I figured I'll put this one, graft this one into the Coco, into the Model 4 case, and so it's another one I need a keyboard for. And I figured if we're going to do that, I might as well go for the Cloud9 option and make use of the extra space in the Model 4 keyboard area.
Is your Coco 3 a proper PAL version, or is it an NTSC?
Yeah, it's a PAL version, so it's got a decent composite output. So that's running a composite output in the background there onto a Sony broadcast monitor.
Yeah. So what about yours, Nick? Is that PAL or is that?
I have a PAL one and an NTSC one.
Now, what do you develop on?
The NTSC one.
Right. Because mine is a bit of a bastard. I'm sorry, it's a bit of a bastard because it's an NTSC where someone has taken like a Coco 2 transformer.
Oh, so is mine actually. Yeah, so I'm running an NTSC one, but I've got a Coco well, a PAL Coco 3 transformer in it. I just swapped them over and it all works.
Yeah, so you're actually running a bit of a
bastard, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm learning all
otherwise
these technical terms this episode. This is awesome.
Well, basically, didn't you and John swap motherboards or something?
Not with John. I picked this up off someone else who was selling just the motherboard, and I put it into a PAL case, and it all works.
Because I think I've not ever tried the RGB output on mine. I've only ever used the composite output. It's like, oh my god.
Oh god, that's terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible because you've got an NTSC machine and you're running 50 hertz at 220 volts. Yeah.
That shouldn't make any difference.
It doesn't make a difference, though. Yeah.
Because the power supply itself is, you're not getting any clock signals from the power supply.
No, you're not. So the video is still 60 hertz. It's all just like a normal NTSC one.
Yeah. What comes out of mine? What comes out of mine looks like turd. Sorry. It looks
Well,
like
the NTSC composite is garbage.
Composite is turd.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another technical term.
Day after.
I'd heard all these reports from everybody when I got the Coco 3 here, and everyone was saying how horrible that the composite output looked. And I plugged the composite output in mine into a composite monitor. I thought that looks pretty good. I thought,
PAL's different. Yeah.
That's what I heard. The PAL's actually got the proper. Yeah, it's got a proper decoding board from the RGB.
From the RGB, yeah.
Yeah, but does that board actually supply the extra 50 lines?
The extra what, sorry?
The what?
50 scan lines.
No. It takes the RGB output from the gimme and converts it to composite.
Because
I don't know. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. It probably does. Yeah, it probably does.
Well, it's a PAL scan
line, and the PAL's got 312.
Yeah.
So it's got a PAL encoder chip on this board. Yeah.
Yeah, it is proper. It's 625 interlaced. It's in two.
Does it also honor? Does it also honor the horizontal interrupt?
Seems to, yeah.
Because on a NTSC Coco 2, you've got like I know David's going to disagree with me, but you've got 262 scan lines because you've got 262 scan lines each half frame. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, for each field you do. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. And on PAL, you've got 312.
Yep.
And the PAL will actually honor the H-sync signal for the 312 scan lines. But this is where the Dragon is a bit funky, because the Dragon 32 will honor all the scan lines, but the Dragon 64 will not. The Dragon 64 just has a delay circuit after the 262.
Oh, so it's only one field.
No, it's two fields, but it just has a delay circuit for the extra 50 scan lines on PAL. So if you're
just doing an NTSC style one and then just doing a delay to eat up the PAL lines.
Yes.
So it's basically duplicating. It's line doubling sort of thing.
So if you're trying to make, say, music based on a horizontal scan, which I done with the Coco 2 demo with the vectors and stuff like that, a Dragon 64, it will play it fine until it gets to line 262 and you have a big fat delay and it goes
Charming. That would have been frustrating when you first discovered it.
Yes. Very frustrating. So yeah, but that's funny, isn't it? That is really fun.
It's funny discussing the pedantics of fields versus frames versus scan line. What you're saying is I get what you're saying about the 320, the 312, and all the rest of it. Technically, it's 625 and 525, but that's talking about full frames, which is divided into two fields of that, and they're interlaced with each other. So we're both saying the same thing, really, but just in a
You're
different way.
saying in technical terms, I'm saying in layman's terms.
Yeah. That's actually my qualifications as a radio tradesman, TV repairman. That's what I'm officially qualified as. So.
Okay, so you're the next person I'm going to hit up when I need some info about colours and shit like that.
Yeah, well, phase alternating lines and all that nonsense. That's had to study all that stuff. Now that's gone all out the window because no one uses it anymore. But that's what happens.
Well,
with technology.
we use it when we start pushing colours on demos and stuff like that. We use it.
Yeah. Well, we're still using it in the Coco world, obviously, because we're still running composite outputs.
So
now we'll get into CCAM.
Yeah, CCAM, PyCam.
Next on Video Standard Talk.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, I kept asking the question, and I know it's the 256 colors that come out of the color computer on composite NTSC, which aren't real colors, and but it is there, and a system was developed by Sundog Systems called Graph Express.
Jeff
and
Steiler.
during the did Sundog or anyone else use that program to develop any software?
Aside from the demos built in there, I don't believe so. There was some confusion. I actually talked to Glenn Dahlgren about this years and years later, because the way the manual is worded is that you had to get permission from them to include the engine if you wanted to sell any, and they would make royalties or whatever. Is how it was worded and how I understood it. So it sounded like you had to basically pay a license for every copy you sold of your own program that was using their engine. Now, when I talked to Glenn much later, way after he's out of the Coco market, I was asking, like, that probably kind of hurt it because, you immediately got this upfront cost making your own game because you have to pay those licenses. And he said, well, no, we would have given it away free for most people. And, but that was never made clear. So, I mean, if we'd known that at the time, I think it would have been used more often, but I think a lot of people kind of balked at, having to pay extra just to include the engine to be able to do it.
Well, it does exist, and it's on the archive. If I don't think you get very good.
Yeah. There's the other problem with that particular program, though, with Graph Express, is that it eats a fair bit of memory itself. Like, it takes away a lot from what your basic program could be doing. You're left with like maybe 16K. And I know a few people that did try it like later, pulling it off the archive, have said you start getting into writing your game or whatever it is, and then you suddenly run out of RAM for basic. So your basic program is limited to like 14K or 16K or something like that. And then because you have all this overhead for the engine, and we start adding like the multi-voice music support and everything else, by the time you fill in all these strings and stuff, you're pretty well out of RAM. So you have to like chain load and preload stuff, like preload your get put buffers and run another basic program to preload your sound buffers and run another basic program to actually run your game. So a lot of people just haven't bothered trying to get all that accomplished.
But the thing is, it's composite NTSC, so it's going to be blurry as. So 256 colors may be okay for doing a picture, but yeah, you start writing an application or a game, anything small on the screen, it's going to be a big blurry mess. It's just terrible.
A colorful blurry mess, but
well, colorful, that's right. But yeah, it's just not sharp graphics. If it doesn't work under RGB, well, I personally am not interested.
It's only good for static pictures and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
Exactly. For static
great
pictures.
as a picture viewer, and I think John Linville's done some stuff with that.
Yeah.
As soon as you start doing motion, you're gonna. Well, it's not gonna stay true because you're shifting.
Yeah.
Position
It's not really a very good mode.
Yeah, colors jumping all over the place then.
Yeah.
But PAL, you can artifact in a different way. And I think David will give you, because PAL, that corrects on a per scan line basis. It corrects on a
Yeah, reverses the phase on each line. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you put colors of equal luma on each scan line, you'll create a new color. If you put a red and a blue, you'll get a purple.
Mm. And if you do it small, if you've got borders with things next to each other, you get a zigzag pattern between it, and it's very, it's a very, what's the word for it? Twinkly, jittery.
Is that the Moire effect or whatever they call it?
Yeah, Moire effect. Yeah,
Moire, that's it.
Yeah, Moire, yeah.
And the reason for that is because each individual line, they reverse the phase of it, and that's one of the reasons why NTSC colours can sometimes not be so accurate, especially with broadcast with TV standard. When you're broadcasting long distances and you get reflections and stuff, the phase of the colour signal shifts. Whereas with because it's the same on each line, whereas with PAL it reverses the phase of each line, and because it's reversing the phase and then reversing it back and reversing it and reversing it back, you get a cancellation of the error, and it ends up with much more accurate colours.
Which is what PAL stands for.
Yeah, phase alternating line.
Yeah.
Well, and PAL was designed much later than NTSC, and it fixed all the problems with NTSC. But
yeah,
not all of them, but yeah, most.
Most of them. That's why PAL sets don't have a tint knob like the NTSC sets have to. But it was also developed later.
Yeah, some of the early PAL sets actually do have a tint control. The Sanyo ones, around 1975, 76 vintage, when PAL TVs first came out, they actually did have tint controls, but they weren't needed.
But you've got somewhere like Brazil, which is a mix between two of them. You've got 262 lines, and you've got artifacts both ways because it's PAL, but with like NTSC timing.
Yeah, 60 hertz and all sorts of crazy stuff, and 3.58 color burst signal instead of 4.3, 4.5 something.
Yeah, we need to have a color discussion.
There we go. We've got some Star Trek in the background there.
Yeah.
The original series.
BMP file.
And
that's cool.
Brian the Music Man has joined us. Good day, mate.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, how's it going?
Willkommen, as they might say in Germany. Not that any of us are from Germany, but
I could say willkommen, which is Danish.
Well,
your audio's a little low there, Brian.
Yeah, you're pretty quiet, Brian.
What's slow?
Audio. Brian's audio is a little low.
Brian the Music
I'm
Man.
on the road. I'm actually in the hotel. So I'm
You're just using a laptop mic then, or?
Huh?
Are you just using a laptop mic?
Yeah. I'd have to adjust the microphone is all.
Yeah. Maybe pull the gain up a little bit on Zoom or something.
Also, we had a comment in the chat from Paul Thayer talking about Graphic Express. I guess he was experimenting with it quite a bit, and he said it leaves you less than 8K for a program to run. So
far out! Wow.
So
he's tried quite a few things with it, but it's kind of limited on size.
Can you use one of those other programs and like Frank, the ones that let you do more memory on BASIC and like Frankenstein them all together? So you could use, up to 512K or.
Well, some of the stuff that Graphic Express does is outside of the system app, but it's the actual interface. It's not really a language because it's not extension to BASIC like say ADOS or something was. It's actually a set of machine language routines you call with a text string that says what command you want to run. So that thing actually loads within the 32K RAM that the basics normally, your basic programs are normally running in. It doesn't put it off somewhere else. And I think that's the main limitation of it. So if you could write a small game in it, I guess.
An MC10 game.
Is my audio a little bit better now?
A little bit.
It's a little bit hotter, which is good.
Okay, cool.
A little bit.
You might just have to lean right into your laptop there and speak right into the mic. I don't
You want me to get so close that you see my teeth?
That's better audio.
And just
There
mute
you
the
go.
video there, and your sound will be fine. No, I'm just kidding.
Brian, will we see you at Coco Fest?
You will be seeing and hearing me at the Coco Fest.
Unlike now.
Unlike now, exactly. I'll be in high fidelity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
4K.
No, not 4K.
16K screen with 192K audio.
Knowing Brian,
And that's
I'll probably
all-
more like 320 audio, but
No, I was talking about sample rate, not bit rate.
Oh, bit rate. Okay, 144.
Yeah, no, I mean sample rate, 192K sample rate, 4 times 44.1.
Yeah.
No.
or you
4
might be
times
using 48K like the old DAT tapes used.
Yeah. And video uses 48K. Getting back to video standards. TV used 48K and Betacam SP. Betacam Digital that used 48K audio.
Yeah, coming up next, we're going to debate which was better, VHS or Beta.
Beta is better, but VHS is more popular.
Yeah, that's true. That's
was
right.
more popular.
Beta would not allow adult movies.
That's right.
That's what killed them.
Betamax was actually a domestic version of Betacam, which was Sony's broadcast standard for years.
I think the length of the tapes made a difference too, because VHS you can get 8-hour tapes, and Beta was limited to 5, if I remember correctly.
Right, because
too lazy to change tapes, recording a whole bunch of shows. So
and the actual physical tape case was smaller for Betamax, and that's what really limited them.
Yeah. It was a more robust format, though.
I'm going to cut you guys loose because I've been up since shit o'clock and it's 11 o'clock at night and I need to go to bed.
Okay, well, thanks for dropping by, Simon. Nice seeing you back on.
Yes.
I'll get back to you by a private message about a few of those things we were discussing.
Yeah, I'd really like to talk about it. Just do it on Bookface because I'm there every day, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Bookface.
Bookface.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's good.
And if I don't talk to you lot before Coco Fest, I'll see you there.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we'll see you there.
Make the trek.
I'll see
With
you
all
at
those
West-
colorful metaphors.
Yes.
Touch the heron.
So good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
So we could
look at
take
some-
a little Coco Do break and come back maybe with some
Coco
Facebook-
Do on the ukulele.
So Ron's got some Apollo. What's that? Apollo 11? Apollo the moon.
Yeah.
Apollo 11.
Buzz Aldrin.
Mm.
It's the 50th anniversary this year.
Yeah, it is too.
Yep.
Very cool.
The alleged moon landing.
Allegedly.
Alleged. Next time, conspiracy talk.
It's time for conspiracy talk.
Get up to tinfoil hats, ladies and gentlemen.
So,
to
Rob,
play
what are we
the-
doing after the break?
I thought we would check on Facebook, a couple of items on Facebook.
Bookface.
Bookface, sorry. Why? What do you have in mind? Or do you have a different
Oh, nothing.
idea?
I was just wondering what was coming up. I didn't know if we had that much more to discuss or not. So.
Well, I'm winging it. You know, playing it by ear.
Still got an hour before the Facebook feed cuts off, I think, didn't we?
Yeah, well, we don't have to meet that deadline if there's nothing to talk about. So that's why I was checking.
We started 2. We started then.
If we go 4 hours, it'll actually be 5.
I think 3 sounds like a good goal for today. But I do want to keep us fresh, and I think the break's important, especially as we know Ron often has to go pee.
Yeah, Ron, what's going on? You're asking for breaks today.
Yeah.
If you don't see my face, I can cut out of here.
Drink your water, Ron.
And we're back.
I'd like to
we'll
just
see you
note
right
we saw
there
Mr. Mark
after these
Overhoser, and I have
words.
my Mark Overhoser hat.
Where is Mark?
The geek goggles.
You saw Marco?
Oh, he did. He was in the bumper.
Ah, you were actually watching the commercials.
Well, it was right as we started, so I saw that part.
Hey, Bruce, who is Paul asking about? Who's going? I guess Bruce Moore. Is D.
Yeah, Vocal
Bruce Moore
Studio
going?
is Bruce.
Yes. Bruce Moore, are you going to Coco Fest? He is not. Breaking news.
D. Bruce Moore is not going to Coco Fest.
In the chat there, I noticed someone's mentioned a Sirius Echo. Is that like an audio problem on the stream, or?
Oh, maybe it was.
It sounded great on
And
Zoom.
perhaps one of my settings was, yeah, either no audio or you get double audio. So just be happy you had
double or nothing.
Yeah.
Be happy you had audio at all, Ken. At this
Back in
point.
my day, we didn't have audio.
This episode of CoCoTALK is coming from a Coco one in poke 65497,0 mode, and the memory is getting scrambled.
That's right. So I don't know, Mark, if you want to throw up Facebook, go through some of the stuff that was posted. We could briefly talk about. I got Twilight Term working, and I went on a couple of pretty graphic, intensive ANSI bulletin boards.
I don't have a Facebook account.
Okay, that is going to be a problem.
What?
Well, that works.
How'd you get it going?
Well, I think a lot of the stuff that's on the image that you can download for your SD, the SDC, I think a lot of those files do have some problems and corruption. So Tom C recommended I download the actual file from Sockmaster's website, which I did. You have to create a disk image first with Toolshed, but once you do that, I loaded it up and it did work. So I can try to share my screen and see what happens.
But how'd you get it onto the internet, though?
So that's an Alan Huffman project, and I can show you Alan's page as well.
Oh, is that Wi-Fi serial?
Yep.
Yep.
So Alan took basically a C64 project, and he changed the firmware so it would correct some of the weird things that the C64 does.
That'd be a lot of patches. Oops, sorry.
Yeah. And so we could go to subeca, software.com.
Now, have you tried NetMate as well, or just Twilight Terminal at this point?
So NetMate and Twilight Terminal, I both have some interesting graphical issues. And again, I don't know if it's just my SD card or something's corrupted. I have a beta version of NetMate, but I was not able to get that working because I can't see the options because they're not displaying properly on the Coco screen.
Now, Ron, you've ran both and successfully on your end, haven't you?
Correct.
So yes. Are you going through one of these wireless modems too, or are you going through DriveWire or what?
No, I use that S-term program that uses the
RS232 pack.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Here, let me post the Alan Huffman link in the Facebook chat. Here we go. And then I am going to try to share my screen and we'll see what happens. Portion of screen, maybe I could do that. What happens if I do that?
There we go.
Here we go.
Now we're seeing an extremely zoomed up version from what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
It's taken the portion and put it the whole screen by the looks of it.
All right. Well, maybe we'll. Oh, it does let you. Here we go. There we go.
That's better. Yeah, that's good.
All right. Let's go to. So I forget which program this was. I was having trouble getting it to work at first, the modem, because I didn't know what baud rate it was set. But then I figured that it was set at 1200, which was good because most software can't support the native 9600 over the Bitbanger port. So once I realized that Alan had dropped it down to 12, I was able to get connected. Let me go into the comments. And I was complaining about my graphics problems. Then I did get, as I said, I re-downloaded the program. And it was a success. And so first thing I wanted to do is obviously test out Sockmaster's program and see if it could display something that was very colorful. And it certainly was able to do that. And then I moved, this was pretty slow at 1200 baud, as you can imagine, but I did up it to 9600 and it was flawless at 9600 and much faster. So, pretty good looking.
I'm getting reports that the video is frozen. And I just tried it on both Facebook and YouTube, and it is froze.
Oh, all right.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, I tried.
We're seeing it fine in Zoom, but
well, now it's just a radio show.
All right.
It's 10 past the hour, and
Just pictured in your mind. Theater of the mind.
That's right.
It'd be good if we can.
Wants to...
It'd be good if we can use the drive wire connection to act as a modem. Someone's working on that, but I haven't seen any instructions on how to do it.
Apparently, Brett was telling me in the Discord that I might be the first one to actually get to this point, and that nobody's actually tried this before.
Yeah, there hasn't been much documentation on how to do it, so
yeah, that would be cool, especially if you did want to just have your Coco in another part of the house, or just because it's cool to have your Coco connected to Wi-Fi. But it would be nice to have that working over drive wire.
Yeah,
Didn't Mikey make a drive wire term?
Yep, he did.
He is Pi drive wire. Is that the same thing?
Yeah.
I mean,
He's got a terminal program for the Coco One too that actually lets you log in through it onto stuff on the net.
But I don't think anyone's tried it because it hasn't really been documented properly. So
yeah, I did install. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say I installed Pi drive wire on my Mac, but then I couldn't figure out the command line interface to start it. It's not ease of use.
Yeah. Talking of all the networking, is it? I know I brought this up on Facebook, and maybe not everybody saw it, but if I had two Coco ones, and I've got one with an STC, and I want to transfer a file from that STC into the second Coco, I can do it with a C-Load M or a C-Load and a C-Save via two Cocos. But is there a better way to do it, like some way to access without having to load into the memory on the first Coco to transfer a file from the SD card directly to the second Coco, maybe via the Big Banger or something? Or
Well, you should be able to do the terminal program with a no modem cable between the two, I'd imagine.
Yeah, the no modem cable, you should be able to.
And what, that just goes between the Big Bangers, yeah? Or
yeah.
I think with the drive wire, you can set up two instances of the a connection. So, because I did at one point have my Coco 3 and my Coco 3 FPGA hooked up to DriveWire on my PC, and then you just map one DSK file, and each computer can access that file or files on that disk.
No, okay. Yeah, I want to try and do it without using a PC though. I want to just do it using directly connecting the two Cocos. So.
All right.
The idea basically is to I mean, ultimately probably be best just to buy another STC, but I've got two of them here already, and I've got 2 mini MPIs. Then I've, well, you know, all of us. I was using 2 of them on both Coco 1s, but since I've got the Coco 3, I've switched the Mega Mini and whatnot onto the Coco 3. I'm just trying to avoid spending a fortune on all these peripherals every time I get another Coco. Basically, it's part of the modular project with the synthesizer. I want to use all 3 Coco 1s and the Coco 3 all connected to the modular, doing some pretty fancy stuff later on. And rather than having to buy a STC card for each one, I thought there'd be a way I could have one master STC card and then network that to each of the Cocos and load the programs in to run from there.
Ironically enough, back in the late 80s, early 90s, Kenton Electronics actually had a SCSI controller that did allow multiple masters. You could have multiple Cocos sharing the one hard drive. So that actually did work back in the day. Roger Kripsky wrote the driver for that, if I remember correctly. But he actually had it even with Coco 1s and 2s, not just Coco 3s. He actually had one SCSI card plugged into his adapter with a SCSI drive on it, hooked up to 2 Coco 1s, and they could both access the virtual disk simultaneously.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, maybe it might
SCSI, because that's part of the SCSI spec. You could have multiple slaves and multiple masters.
Yeah. I mean, in the meantime, I can do it just with with C-load M's and all the rest of it, and transfer by the cassette port. But it's slow and it's messy because I've got to load each program into the master Coco before I can transfer it into the others, basically.
That DriveWire's fast though.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I could do it by using a PC connected to them all as well. I mean, if I'm going to be connecting 4 Cocos in the modular, then it's probably not much just to connect a laptop to it and do it that way. Maybe that's the best way to do it. So DriveWire connects via how does that connect to the Coco? I've never used it before. So
through the serial port.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. Okay.
On the back.
Oh,
this
perfect.
Is a USB cable, and this is a DriveWire cable that I got from Cloud9.
If you have an old laptop with a serial port, then you don't need the USB adapter.
Yeah, okay. Oh, maybe I'll do that. Just have it set up as a server that I can use for each of the Cocos.
Yeah, I do it off an old laptop. That's got a serial port on it.
You can see I got 2 drives up, but you can actually put 4 up. And what's nice about DriveWire is you don't have to keep turning off your Coco to display pictures, at least. I have a High Color 2 program on there, and I can just keep changing drive 1, 2, 3, 4. I can go all the way down to 9, is it? 9 different drives, so you could keep feeding one program with different drives, which makes it neat.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, you can also use DriveWire with a virtual Coco also on your laptop. So if you need high speed for doing stuff, you can do that, and you can have both hooked up at the same time. I do that for some of my music development and some of my programming development. I do it on the virtual, compact it and pack it up and toss it over onto a virtual drive and move through DriveWire, and that works out real good. By the way, is my audio any better now?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot better. Yeah, heaps better.
And David, also, if you have DriveWire hooked up, you can then use it as MIDI as well, because it uses the PC as a MIDI box. As a sound box, rather. So any MIDI software running on the Coco could actually talk via DriveWire, making it think it's talking to a MIDI synthesizer.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
DriveWire is pretty good.
I'll have to experiment with it. It's,
Yeah, I haven't
like a-
been able to get the MIDI part working, but
Something you're missing, right?
something I'm missing.
What else do we've got online?
We've got a lot of talk.
We can start the outro, and I can see if I can figure out the echo issue on the commercials, and come back after the outro and see if we've got some parting words. So let's try it, and I'm going to take a look at what's going through the audio.
This concludes another episode of CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer. For all things CoCoTALK, visit us on the web at CoCoTalk.live. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to CoCoTalk@CoCoTalk.live. Consider supporting the show with a purchase of merchandise from our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, click on the Patreon link on our site at CoCoTalk.live. CoCoTalk would not exist without the community and its cast and crew. Thanks go to Curtis Boyle, David Ladd, Mark Overholzer, Grant Leedy, Bruce Moore, Nick Marentes, Ron Delvaux, Rick Adams, Jason Reichert, Richard Lorbieski, Jim Brain, Karen Anscombe, Simon Jonason, and many, many more. Special thanks to Steve Bjork for production suggestions and to Brian Joyce, Ken Reichert, and Rob Inman for all of their bonus content and contributions, as well as Roger Taylor for getting us on the Coco TV channel on Roku. Please help support the Coco community by visiting some of its contributors. The Coco Crew podcast at cococrew.org. Glenside Color Computer Club, host of Coco Fest at glensideccc.com. Jim Brain and Retro Innovations at go4retro.com. Tandy Assembly at tandyassembly.com. Boyson Technologies at boysontech.com. Get your own switcheroo and wallaby cable at cocoman.biz. Cloud9 Technologies at cloud9tech.com. CoCoTALK is hosted by Steve Strobridge. Co-hosts, technical directors, segment hosts, and producers Curtis Boyle, David Ladd, Grant Leedy, Mark Overholzer, Ron Delvaux, and Jason Reichert. The CoCoTALK theme song is copyright 2008 by D. Bruce Moore and Greg Sheeler. Mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore.